Now driving by here, I noticed somebody took out another shelter belt. You know, they cut the trees down, they'll doze a hole and push the stumps in and burn them. And it's all to get, you know, a couple more acres of land. I don't like to see it because what it does, you know, those shelter belts are there for a reason. You know, they catch a lot of snow. So I'm going to end up on this next corner down here. I'm probably going to have trouble with snow drifts the first time we get a hard winter again. And the funny part is, I haven't seen a crop come out of that piece of land for years. It's a kind of a bog and it's all alkali in there. But I can see by the tracks of one of them floaters that they were in there and spread fertilizer again. So it's going to be corn or beans. And, you know, that really wouldn't even happen except for the government program. Because a lot of times it ain't what you get off of that land. It's, if it's seeded, you're going to get paid for it. You know, it's a shame. But, I see a lot of times where this just, whatever they put in there, like 95% of it is going to die. But they'll get paid for what they put in. But it seems like an awful lot of waste. And these are the big old cottonwoods that they cut out of there. And I don't know what they're going to do with them. I mean, that's only good for like pallet material. But it's a shame, because that is really, you know, there's only certain kinds of weeds that'll even grow in that stuff. But they'll pour the chemicals to it, throw some seed in there, call it good. But it's funny, you know, it's a hell of a way of farming where I sometimes hear these guys saying, you know, they don't want to get a crop. It costs them more. If they have to go in there and harvest it, it costs them more money. They're a lot better off if the crop just dies. If they can call it 100% loss and get paid for it. You know, it's a funny way of farming. This shouldn't even be. This should be nothing but grass. You know, it shouldn't be farmed. But I can't even remember the last time I've seen any kind of crop come off of there. And I think I've seen it planted in corn and beans and beets. You know, all the three things that are counting on the government price supports for that. I don't care to see that. Well, and that ain't the only one. This other piece directly across the road from it, same way. You know, there's nothing grows in there. I haven't seen a crop in there for years. But if you just let it go to grass and hay it, you'll be a lot better off. And, you know, the only ones that fall for that is the government getting involved in farming. I wish they weren't in there. Here's another instance of government involvement. A big thing now is to put in this drain tile. I imagine at least 25% of the fields around here have drain tile in them now. And, you know, I couldn't figure out at first how this could possibly pay. Because if you really was to look at it, you know, there's no way that this would ever be feasible. But it turns out there's some kind of a government payment involved in it. You know, some tax creditor or some such thing. And I would say, you know, within the next 10 years, there'll hardly be a field around here that hasn't got that drain tile in it. There again, the whole big shelter belt taken out to make a big field and then put the drain tile in the bottom of the field. You know, I just, you know, I could see it in certain fields where this might be advantageous, but they're doing it everywhere. But it's because there's some kind of a kickback for it. Because otherwise it wouldn't make a damn bit of sense. But these companies that do it, they're backed up for I think like 6 years. They've got contracts to do it in the fields. You know, it's a big operation now to do that. And then they'll take and put in the lowest spot where it all drains to, they put a big electric pump in that has to sit and pump all the time, a steady flow of water coming out of these drain tiles. And, you know, with all the chemicals they put in, you know, that's some kind of a vicious soup that's coming out of there. It ain't just clear water. Yeah, I don't know. It gets a little discouraging to see the way they do that, but it's your tax dollars at work. Government being involved in farming.